So, bleh. Yeah, okay. So I'm going to present you a simple and a nice tool that you can use to build your own project. So if you want to bootstrap anything fast, why not to use something that will help you solve majority of backend problems, like if you want to write, for example, a simple application to do like a CRUD or maybe something similar, you can use PostgREST, which is like a automated way of building your REST endpoints without any code, let's say, any code. This is a tool written in Go that allows you to basically get REST for free. So I'm running it on a database that I created before, and let's just play around with it. Yeah. So this is, let's say I'm creating a giraffe from scratch, right? So first of all, I need to register some users, right? So you can see I'm calling my service. This is the address that the Postgres is listening at. And as you can see, there was a post RPC to RPC sign up. So that was me. And I just created a user, right? And I just, as a result, I got JSON Web Token for authentication. So I can also log in, like in this case. And now the token will be in a variable that I'm going to reuse. This is just a JSON Web Token, right? I just log in. Now let's do something fun, like, for example, list projects that are registered in the system. As you can see here, maybe it's not, the array is empty, right? Because there's no project yet. But let's create one, right? So it's that simple. As you can see here, I just got a confirmation that the project was created, and this is the location of this project. You can use this approach, or you can try to use a different one I'm going to show you in a second. So I created a project, so I can also delete a project, right? So let's delete a project first. This is, as you can see, I'm just using delete. And here is here's the project ID. So I deleted a project, right? And without any single line of code, I have like functioning REST. Just run the command and play with it, right? So there's a couple of different options you can use. So for example, I got a project. Well, when I create a project, I just got a location, right? But this is probably not something that you would find useful when you create a application based on this API. So you can use something, plurality. Oh, not plurality. Here, return representation. So yeah, let me just delete this project again. Okay, what I was after is this. Yeah. So when you create a project, you can get a location, or you can also get the details of the project you created. This is driven by one of the headers that you can set when you do a request, which is here, prefer return representation. So the Postgres will know that I actually want to see the object that I created. So you can call it from JavaScript, get the details of the project, and display it, do whatever you want with it, right? So let's say that I created a project. It would be great to create some issues right now, right? So let's just get the project ID here. And let's play with issues. As you can see, I created a new issue. Let's create another one. Let's say another issue. Okay, so I have two issues now. So let's display them, right? As you can see, I have two issues in the system, okay? So let's play with them a bit. Let's create yet another project. Okay. Oh, sorry. Yeah. This is something that I was supposed to show you later, but as you can see, we have also security. Like here, I'm logged in as Paweł Niewiadomski at spartest.com, so I cannot create a project which has a lead of a different user because I set up the database that you are not allowed to do that. But I will discuss that in details in a minute. I just now want to create a different project here with a proper name. Okay, so we have already two projects. Let's add a couple more issues to the second project. Like, so. So we have a couple of more issues. Yeah, so let's display them then. Okay, as you can see, we have two projects. We have issues for each project, and now we can do some fun stuff. For example, like, let's say that we want to display issues only for one project. Let's say it for Jira. So Postgres supports many different ways to query. As you can see, we only get the issues for Jira project. Supports different operators. I'm using equals here, but you can use greater, less than, and all the things that we have in SQL. Yes, I will show you that in a minute. But first, let's say that I'm not interested in all the details of the issue, but only a summary, right? So you can easily get only a summary. You can get summaries and then order them by, for example, summary, right? You can do that, without any problems. Yeah, exactly. Looks like select. And you can also do fun stuff like the thing Jacek asked. This is something that, echo. So, I copied the wrong thing. Key name. No. So this is exactly what you wanted. So I'm presenting a project with issues at the same time, right? We can do different selects. We can actually have selects nested. So if the hierarchy is deeper, you can also select them. We can, for example, select only summaries of issues in the given project, right? Maybe you have like a list view and you're only interested in summaries, like we have in Issue Navigator, right? You can do that. And what's... Sorry? No. Also, the funny thing is, if I want to export that into CSV, right? You can have that. Okay. Sorry? Yeah, because this is nested, so it doesn't understand. So yeah. So let's create another user, right? Because you want to have multiple users. So let's authenticate. Now we are working as a different user. So let's create a new project. let's say I create a new project. Now we have multiple projects. So I configure the database that all the projects are visible to every user. But what if I wanted to change the name of Jira? Sorry, not allowed, because I configured the database that only the lead of a project can manage the project. So if I'm trying now to change project that which is not mine, I'm not allowed to do. Sorry? No, it's not possible. This is. Yeah, so I can show you in a minute. So yeah, I'm going to show you in a minute how it's done. Yeah, because this is wrong query. I want to update the project. So I patched it and I have a new name. So let's see projects now. Yeah, you can see the Zen's name was changed. So what else can we do? Let's imagine that we want to also store user preferences, like maybe, I'm not sure, like theme or like, user configuration. But we do not want to make it possible for other users to actually see the configuration of other users, only myself. So let's create some configuration. You can see I stored preferences. Let's say that those are like the basic ones. And now I can see them, right? But I'm now going to log in as Paweł Jadomski at Spartas, and now I'm not able to see them, right? This is just basically all the things that PostgreSQL gives you plus the PostgREST, and you can do stuff like that. So let's say that I want to now create my own preferences. You can see I can see only mine, right? I can also update them, like for example with a patch. It's you can do different things. So how does that work? For example, security, right? So what we have is, let me show that. Oh, yeah. So this is the database schema I have. And what's nice about Postgres is that you can actually discover it by yourself. When I don't give any endpoint, like any path, I can check the schema of the database or which tables are available for me, right? Which endpoints. And for example, I'm interested in projects. Projects, okay. So I can get, with the verb options, I can get the schema of the database. If I don't know it or if anything changed, I can get details so you can see what's the schema of the database, so I can easily discover how to play with given REST endpoints, right? Sorry? We can check. I'm not logged in now. And yes, I can. So I allow anonymous. Like there's an option when you run application, you can specify which PostgreSQL role will be assigned to anonymous users, and then you can configure based on the database permissions which things you can see or not to see. Like what can you do exactly? So yeah, this is in my case I'm able to get the details. So yeah, that's basically it. Like in terms, it gives you a much more possibilities like the You can make complex SQLs, as I mentioned, and use operators, things like that. You can store, you can update things, delete, and so on. Also, you mentioned that you saw that when I was logging in, I was calling procedures, stored procedures. So you can also call stored procedures as an endpoint. If you have like a particular, maybe more complex thing to do on a database, why not? You can just, call. Of course, also you need to give a permission to the user to call the procedure. It's not that every procedure will be available, so we can control that. And let me just show you how it looks. Yes and no. So that depends how you configure that. You can say that for every user you will have to create a role. So that will be just a PostgreSQL user. Or you can also configure that in a way I configured, is that there's only one role I have, like so I have author, and every logged in user is author, and I configure permissions based on this. So you can see that author is able to access issues, projects, and user preferences. Also, like the RPC, you can access those two. So what else? Database schema. So what's new and what maybe not new, but what's good about PostgreSQL is that it supports row-level permissions, and this is the mechanism I'm used to set constraints, and permissions for the users. That you already saw that someone is able to see everything but not edit. So this is done with policies. And in this case, you can see that for reading, there's no policy. You can just read everything, right? But for updating, the lead needs to be the user logged in. And for example, for user preferences, I did something different, and you can only now see the rows that you are your rows. So email must be the same. So this way you can control permissions. And those are simple examples, but basically you can here have selects, and by selects you can call also remote procedures. So you could build a complex permissions like configuration based on that. Of course, it will slow down because then for every select and for every row, this will be executed internally. But if you're bootstrapping your application, that might be easier than implementing everything in the code. And why not to use that before you prove that your application is actually useful and others will use it, right? So yeah, this is also the new thing that, well, not new but fun. You can store JSON inside of a Postgres, so then you can also operate that. As you saw, I was actually storing values here, and Postgres understood that without any problem. So it supports all the popular column times in Postgres. Yeah, basically it is. That's what I wanted to present you. It's an easy way to bootstrap your REST, and I'm actually using that. Well, not here. Like in a project, you can. Yeah, this is like single page app that uses PostgREST underneath, and you can do like different stuff on top of that. Yeah, so you can then concentrate, like focus on the value that you give to the customers, like the front end, all the fun stuff, and not worry about backend and maintaining it. Combined with something like active migrations from Rise, you can you can actually like have a history and have everything manageable. Like you don't have to, update the database schema by hand, but just only run migrations and things like that, and have full history of the changes. Yeah, and yeah.
Sorry for asking that, because slides are coming, you mentioned that. So this HTTP server, what it is? Is it internal to the PostgreSQL or is it?
No, this is a separate project that a couple of folks are working on. It's PostgREST, and this is basically a tool that will read the schema and create REST endpoints for the schema of the database. So you can configure, whatever you want. Yeah, this is external to the database.
But specific to Postgres.
Yeah, this is specific to Postgres. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So first of all, you can create views, and views will be also available. So you can, and with a view you can do whatever you want, like create joins, multiple joins, or like use storage procedures and things like that. So you can do that. And also you can call storage procedures, on your own. So if you want, to have some data processing, you can do that. And Postgres supports many different languages for procedural, for storage procedures. It's not only PSQL, which is not so modern, but you can write it in Python, I think, JavaScript, and many different languages. So whatever you like. Yeah. So yes. So there is a support of versioning in Postgres, but this is something that I haven't used yet. But yeah, there is a support for that. I think that there's somewhere documentation on that.
And but also, yeah, for the new columns, you could create some for values or something like that. So they were trying to release the kind of the. Sounds like a headache, because what they like to do is just get a database and just do some magic, get a text file out of it, do the changes, version it in some version control, and then create the next database. And then my front end will connect to the next one, right? So that would give me isolation. It would be quite easy, but I don't know how it's in progress. I mean, it all depends whether because it's big and not maintainable. It all depends whether you can allow the disconnecting your clients, because some systems clients are connected all the time.
Yeah. One other thing I wanted to mention is that usually when you create an application, you want to process maybe not, more than 2 projects or more than 5 issues. So basically, you will end up with some pagination or things like that, or maybe infinite scroll, which you want to implement. And this is something that Postgres also implements out of the box. So there are 2 approaches. You can use pagination. So basically, for every return, you can paginate over it, and you can also get a count. So you can do you can easily do a pagination and things like that. So this is also supported. Yeah, just basically all the basic stuff that you would need is already there. Not sure. You have any other questions? Yeah. If you don't have any other questions, so just grab a link and play with it. It's everywhere. So no. So Postgres is written in Go. There's a binary for every major system. So for Ubuntu, Postgres, for Ubuntu, macOS. I haven't tried, but I guess Heroku, yes.
I think you get the Postgres on the
Yeah, you can.
service.
Yeah, you can. So
Then you have a Dyna, which is fine.
you should be able to do that. I'm hosting that on DigitalOcean, so I have like a real box there, like not a real, like a virtual box there. So yeah, I have full access to the machine, not like on Heroku. But I expect it would be easy to run it on Heroku or something like that. So you can create views for that. And with views, you can do everything. Yeah.
So actually, assuming if you want to have this new Jira or whatever, so how do you make it available to some clients? I mean, so it's some unrelated API doesn't, I mean, unrelated code doesn't try to mess with your code. It's usually what you have in PHP or something is that you have a database password somewhere in the PHP file that was PostgREST.
Yeah.
So how do you manage it here?
Okay.
Can you repeat the question for the sake of the crowd?
So basically, the question was how to manage credentials for PostgREST when you're running it on some box. Well, actually, you need to store them there. So because you,
How to serve them?
what do you? How do you serve them?
Yeah, actually, I don't know if my question is understood.
Yeah, doesn't, to be honest, because with. Uh-huh. Yeah, yeah. So
How do you start using the application? You just provide the password, right?
no. So this is what I presented. Like you need to. So in this scenario, I configured everything that you need to log in before you can do any like modification. So, but login is just you saw that I was registering users in the system. So this is the same thing that you would do just in a regular application. The user needs to sign up, and then the user can log in, right? So this is the same. It's not, the user here is not a user of PostgreSQL database. It's just an anonymous access plus some additional things that will allow you to determine which user is accessing the database inside of the database, right? So what I'm doing is that no, the idea is this is sessionless. This is like, this is using JSON Web Tokens. The idea is that this is sessionless. You can scale it. You can do whatever you want. Basically, there's no state here. That's why this is really great for like single page apps. That you create a single page app. No, sorry.
Yeah, so I need something to store cookies. The question is whether I can do it with this one or not.
No.
Storing cookies is quite easy if you can just manipulate the header of the response, right?
Yeah.
And the question is whether this allows you to manipulate the header.
No. Why? No. This is.
Your code who does the request does big.
Yeah.
So it's not a problem for you to store the cookie and pass it to the cookie. Because you can have the session inside your application. So we have the cookie to the application, you can store the information of the web token. And then you are doing Ajax request. So we have that token from your session of your application.
But can I do it from JavaScript? I can, right?
You can.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Because there are two applications. One is from web and second one is back.
Yeah, that's me.
Mm-hmm. Okay, thanks.